now I'll unmute my microphone, and they'll be able to hear you and me both. That'll be nice. Wow, we have people actively waiting for this mess to start. I am excited. I don't know what to think about this. I think I have everything set right. Everybody's enjoying the behind the scenes noise now.
That front porch bothers me.
Me too. It ain't right. There's 2 front doors and 2 porches from the look of it.
No, there's only one front door, but the stairs go up into nothing.
And then there's just like a rock pile in front of the actual door, and it doesn't look like they're connected. Well, you get what you pay for.
I've seen houses like that, but like that door should be on the side of that jut out thing then.
Yeah.
Like you walk up and you're facing a window and the door is perpendicular to the steps, which is horrible for moving.
I'll say this, you do get what you pay for, and I paid exactly 1 AI-generated art credit for this. I wasn't sure
house
what
in
style.
the suburbs?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what style I wanted to go with, but I needed something to put up after last week where we're just staring at each other like, are we live? Are we live? Anyway, let me fade out the music here. Boop-a-doop-boop. Perfect. And turn off the starting soon and switch right over to us. Hi, we are live. We are here. Welcome to Blue House Bowl Session, episode 1.5. I don't know. But the first one where we use this name, how about that? That it definitely is. For anyone who's new here, I'm Jay. Over here, joined on my... What side are you on my camera? Over there. Over there is Fuzzy. Fuzzy is over there. We've been doing the talking heads thing for a while, and for decades now we've been yelling, "Hey, why don't we make a podcast out of this?"
No, that's right. You're on that side.
I don't know how to.
We'll do this way.
Woo! Powers activate, etc. Yeah, just the latest ongoings of whatever's floating through our heads at the moment. One of the topics which has been floating through our heads at the moment, which I am going to jump on right away and start with, and we'll take it wherever it goes from there. We need to talk about noodles.
Oh, or we're going straight into the debate topic?
I'm going straight into the noodle debate. Because I told you I didn't want to talk about noodles because I wanted to talk about it here where people could see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, your question that you posed originally, like in the list of things we should talk about at some point, your question that you posed is seasoning packet before or after when you're making a packet of instant ramen. What's your take?
It depends if I know the seasoning is a powder or a goop. The powder ones I tend to put in first so that it gets into the water and soaks into the noodles for the entire cooking and cool down time. The ones that are a packet of goop, I put on after because I want it to coat the noodles, but I don't want it to be mixed in with the water so much.
Okay, that leads me to another question that I at least have to ask. Do you use the noodle water? If you don't season the water, do you use the noodle water as your soup?
I don't understand this question.
In theory, you could boil the noodles, drain the water, add hot water back to the noodles that does not have all the washed off starch dust in it.
Boil the water?
Yeah. Well, you can. Just heat it in general.
No, you put it in the microwave.
Right.
That's how you make ramen.
Okay, well, look, some of us use the stove.
Are you also one of those people that a packet of ramen is actually 2 servings?
That's what it says on there, but I don't believe it. That's like the serving size for a package of Oreos is one package. If it means you're having six because you got a pack of six at the gas station, cool. If it means you are now a party of one because you're eating a whole party size, cool. A serving of anything is one package full.
The only exception, I do make the hot water separately with the cups. Because
Fair.
for the longest time, technically, you weren't supposed to microwave those cups. People
Yeah.
did anyways, but you weren't supposed to. But it was one of the few uses of using hot water and apply to it and let it sit. Because that's how you're actually supposed to make those.
Yeah.
The packet of ramen, if it's just the packet, it's kind of nebulous. I tend to get the brick of ramen that comes in a bowl. There's a fill line. That means you're supposed to cook it in there, which means you're supposed to put that in the fill and then microwave.
When I
So
am making like top ramen Maruchan in the little plastic baggie, it's a brick of noodles and a bag of dust.
yeah,
Boil the water without the seasoning. Cook
okay.
the noodles 3 minutes. If I'm feeling punchy, I'll drain them and add hot water, but that's a temperature control thing too. Like, I don't want my soup boiling, I
Hmm.
want my soup hot.
No, I would use the soup water. I would use that. I would add hot water, let the noodles steep in the hot water to cook or soften or whatever, and then put that powder because it drains. There's a starch in there.
Cold,
I want my
cold.
soup
Okay,
cold like a.
gazpacho is amazing. Okay, I'm not going to argue that at all whatsoever. But if it's got noodles in it, it can't be cold. Like that shit gets gummy. That gets gross.
I don't know that I've ever. I've never made ramen like that. I'll be honest. I've never made the Maruchan brick of ramen like that. I had a bowl that I knew how much water to fill to level. Put brick in bowl, add water till it's covering
Punch
noodles.
the noodles in there for God's sake. Yo, do you
Cold milk
break
with
up your
sesame.
noodles? We're about to get in a
Um.
big fight. Do you break up your noodles?
Okay. Again, it depends on shape. The square packet, just the packet and the dust. Yes, I would break those up. I would pre-crunch up lightly,
Yo.
empty that into a bowl. But here's the thing. We had the rainbow bowl.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
knew which it was
They're
perfect.
like
I knew which
perfectly
line.
shaped and sized for.
Right. I knew which line to fill to water was enough for that. And in that case, I would always add this I would add the seasoning to that water and then microwave, let sit, consume.
All right, cold noodles with sesame sauce. All right, you got me on that one, but that's not soup. Like the noodles are cold, but it's not in like a giant bowl of cold liquid. I that man, I don't know. Chewy noodles just scare the crap out of me. Point is, best like instant nickel a pack ramen that I have been making recently is I get the tiny little pre-cooked meatballs, the freezer ones. Throw a couple of those in the bottom of a bowl. Now here's the complicated part. A couple of those in the bottom of the bowl with like a quarter inch of water, a half inch of water. You don't want it to come up to the midpoint of the meatballs.
Okay.
Throw the seasoning in there, whether it's liquid or powder. All the seasoning goes in there. That gets microwaved long enough to thaw the meatballs. The water helps, it heats them up, it keeps them from getting like rubbery.
Okay.
While that's happening, you boil the noodles separately on the stove in a pan, unbroken. When the noodles are done boiling in a cup and a half of water, which looks like it's not going to be enough, by that time your microwave's been beeping at you for 2 minutes. You get the bowl of meatballs out, you dump in the soup, boom, you got the best ramen you're going to make for $1 at home. And and there's a new-ish branding, Indomie or something, that has chicken and onion flavor, and they've got like a chili oil with it. That is like the perfect flavor for it too. I want to try it with the fish balls too, because I think that would make a world of difference. It's it's a lot of work,
Nah.
but it's the difference between it feeling like I'm forcing this down my gullet so my stomach doesn't collapse on itself, and I'm eating a meal even if it's of mediocre quality. It's worth
Yeah,
a couple extra
yeah.
steps to turn it into real food. It's not going to be gourmet, but it's going to be real food. Yes, dummy. If you close the door, you can't get back out.
I'll put in a cat door.
Put in like
I'll find the Amazon link
five.
to the one that makes it one way
Well, I,
so
I
they can get
originally
out.
I originally shut it because I didn't want any of the cats to come in and bother me. And when I say any of the cats, I really mean Madison. Sarge knows her place. I didn't want Madison to come in and stir shit up. So she was standing at the door yelling at me. So I opened the door. So she came in and closed the door. And then she was standing at the door getting ready to start yelling again.
Uh, Tremulous. I did that the other day. I had bought a pack of Mandy's, the little mini mandarin oranges, because I like oranges, but I don't like a whole lot. And occasionally I have a child in the house. And so I just had a thing of Mandy's and I've been trying to eat them so they didn't go to waste. Like every time I got up to go to the bathroom and, get rid of water and get new water, I would stop in the kitchen and peel a Mandy and just consume it. And I'm like, what can I cook with these? And I threw one in a bowl of ramen. Because I'm like, what other things can I add to this ramen to make it better, but not, you know, what are you staring at?
Nothing. Nothing at all. My
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
What was it you were saying the other? You were like, I'm gonna get whatever the opposite of scurvy is.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get like anti scurvy because I was eating too much vitamin C.
Yeah, just every time you go through, you just like chowing down on a whole mandarin orange peel and all.
I mean, they're small. They're a little bit bigger than a golf ball.
They're
Like they're
not
not.
grapes though.
They're about 2 grapes tall in height.
All right, yeah. You have a
They.
point.
I will take what I will take a picture for scale and send it to you. Okay.
Here's a
They
picture
are
of an orange banana for scale.
It is approximately. They are about approximately the size of the bottom of a drink can.
Approximately the size of a bottom of a drink can. No,
Yes,
I'm hip. I'm hip.
they're relatively small, and it was like every 3 hours. So I guess maybe in one day I had 4 of them, but it was just
Okay, yeah,
like,
that's not bad.
yeah, if I sit down to eat them, I'm gonna have 3 or 4 of them anyways. It was just like every couple hours.
Yes, send me Casey's breakfast pizza. Oh my God, I love you. I miss you. I wasn't talking to the pizza. Maybe I was.
And BJ, yes, I agree. That is a lot of work for ramen. But his point was he is not making ramen. Ramen just happens to be the center point of his dinner he's cooking. He's cooking a meal. He is not eating a package of ramen for sustenance. He is cooking a meal around it.
Yeah, like you throw a fistful of spinach in the water while it's boiling too, so it has a chance to get a little wilty, and that way you've technically eaten a vegetable as well. Technically, I guess, for some value of vegetable.
Um, I played that TikTok for you about food decision and
Yeah,
not eating because of all the choice paralysis and 700 steps. That's kind of why I like the ramen in the bowl, because I don't have to dirty a dish. I don't have to find a clean dish. I don't have to find my special one that I know that makes ramen. It is its own bowl. I don't have to dirty a pot or a pan or a kettle or anything. I can pour. I found out it is approximately a cup of water to that fill line, and my fridge, I can dispense volumetric amounts on my fridge. So I can set it on the drink thing and hit dispense 1 cup, and it goes up close enough to the fill line. I'm like, screw it, it's ramen. It doesn't have to be scientific.
Bruh.
and then I just put it in the microwave.
You and your
So
robot
it's like,
fridge, man.
oh man, it's you know how we got used to having water in the fridge, and that became standard, and then like you lost it, and you're like, oh, that makes me sad. And then it's like this is above that. I can hit like dispense water and walk fill this container with 24 ounces of cold water and walk away and do something else for, not hold it for 3 minutes.
I'm seriously gonna like bribe you to help me figure out how to move the big fridge back upstairs and hook it up again, and then clean it out and change the water filter. I need that fridge back.
Um, there's ways of doing it. Mainly, we're going to add straps to it and pull it up the steps
Dolly it up.
because we are going. No, we're going to put it on smooth, flat thing. Ideally, literally a sled, so the end's curved, so it doesn't catch on steps. And we are going to pull it up the steps because physics.
You. Okay, now I'm
It is easier.
reevaluating how bad I want that.
No, because we can set a dolly face down on the top, use the wheels as a I guess it would be a pulley, and then stand outside and pull, and it will bring the fridge up the steps. I have thought about this.
Hmm. All right, we'll make sure we set up some time to discuss this further. Yeah,
Yes, slow kinetic relocation.
absolutely. We're just gonna manifest it up the stairs.
Basically, yeah. Also if you take the doors off, it's a significant chunk lighter.
Fair, fair.
People
Well,
never
good.
think to do that.
That'll be
Take the
motivation to
doors off your
like
fridge.
empty it out first, because if it's unplugged and the doors are off, there better not be anything in it at all. Yeah, smart
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, it's the same way you take like drawers out of a dresser. You know, it's over half of the weight is the drawers because
What? I
they're
never thought about that. No, I have,
they're
but
five sides of a box. They're five planks of wood times four, five, six. You know,
fair.
look, Jen, take the bricks out of the washing machine before we take it up the stairs.
Oh Lord, good times, good times.
Okay, approximately a million years ago, we helped a friend of ours, her and her mother, move out of their apartment, and it was floor space wise, it was actually a decent sized apartment, but it was very narrow and very tall, and so the stairs were very steep. Getting the washing machine up out of the basement up very steep wooden stairs was a pain. Me and my friend Jeff, we got it up the stairs with brute force. We were young and dumb and probably hyped up on caffeine. We got it up the steps with enough force, and her mom says, like, oh god, that was so heavy. He's like, oh, did you take the cinder blocks out of the bottom of it? And we're like, the what? She says, oh yeah, it's got like two or three cinder blocks in the bottom for weight because it's like a cheaper model, and they actually put cinder blocks in them to add weight, so it makes it not top heavy, so they don't like rattle around. And we were like, we what? And then we tipped it over and look. Sure as shit, there was three cinder blocks in the bottom of it. No, a cinder block, two cell cinder block, is not that heavy. Three of them, in retrospect, is even not that much heavier compared to the weight of it. You would think it was half the goddamn weight.
Yeah,
A washing machine is basically four sheets of sheet metal, and that's it.
that's there specifically to keep the much lighter machine from walking away while it's washing.
Which was a problem, which was why they had strap mounts inside to strap cinder blocks to it. And we're like,
Yeah.
and to this day, anytime it's like, oh, that's we make the just like, oh god, like, oh, this is heavy. And one of us will be like, did you take the cinder blocks out?
I remember moving day. I wasn't able to help move because I was working that day, but I remember moving day and picking everyone up and us going out to dinner. Everyone had had a rough go of things for that, among many other reasons. It was just like a hairy, scary day in general. Everyone was cranky.
In Ohio, the weather is very volatile and very expressive. And this was one of those days in spring that it just like was 60, 60, 60, 60, 28, 60, 60, 60. And it just happened to be the day she was moving, a freak snow front came through and it was sleeting and cold and snow. And we had parked the weird apartment complex, like the hill we had to park the truck on was slightly at a tilt, and it happened to be on the direction that the snow was blowing in. So it was blowing sleet through the air directly into the truck, which was open and on an angle. So we took stuff into the truck, and then it was a treacherous time to get up the slippery slope out of the truck.
We went to Denny's afterwards to thank everybody. And the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife, and it was deathly quiet at the table. So, in a fit of intelligence, whatever I ordered came with a side of corn, and I was picking up each kernel and squeezing the contents of the kernel out from the little outer shell of the corn kernel and eating them one at a time that way. And ultimately, that's what broke the tension and got everyone to like not murder anybody that day.
Which we also bring up to him all the time.
I will never live that down. I can't order corn around these people anymore because they're. Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? No, I'm not gonna do it. I learned my lesson last time. Anyway, the point is, you crush up the contents in the package real good. You got to make sure you get it real good because you want one of them sharp noodle ends to like pierce the seasoning bag. Pour cold milk in there and eat it like cereal. That's how you make ramen.
I usually don't crunch up my ramen anymore. I put the brick in there and let it go.
When I like finally grew up and bought my own set of chopsticks instead of only using them when I had leftovers from Chinese takeout. That was what
Well,
did it for me.
okay, it's a difference of, do you want, are you consuming ramen for sustenance in the quickest way possible? You want ramen bits because you want to shovel them with a spoon in your face for sustenance. If you want some ramen noodles and you're going to twirl them with a fork or chopsticks, you leave them whole. We had 2 minutes in between raids, and we
Okay,
would we would punch the bag. It would break it up enough, crack the packet open along the seam,
like an
like
egg.
like an egg into the bowl, remove the thing, dump the water, put it in the microwave. You could do this all within the space of about 15 seconds. You
Wow.
would punch, crack, remove the packet, and throw it in there.
Hi, Madison. Say hi. Say hi to folks watching at home. That's probably not a great place to sit and purr, but I'll deal with it. This episode brought to you by. Yeah, sustenance ramen, like, don't starve ramen. You crack it up, you throw everything in the bowl together, you heat the poison out of it until you can chew it, and then you just throw it down. And hope that down is the direction it gets thrown and nowhere else.
What's your opinion on cup ramen?
I personally am not as big a fan, but I'm bad at styrofoam. I'm going to end up eating part of that container by accident or poking a hole in it and spilling it all over something I don't want to get ramen all over.
There, I don't know, even know if it was actual styrofoam. It was like paper. It was like a paperboard sleeve inside, and the styrofoam. It was like a thin styrofoam sleeve on the outside of it for insulation. I don't think the food was actually directly on. Some of them were, but I think they were had like a paper cup lining on the sides,
Hmm.
like a reverse coffee cup.
They also take up a little too much room to store for me, but that's just me. I
Yeah,
guess
so
my
what you got to
complaint is they're
do?
tougher to customize.
So what you got to do is those the K cup like carousels. People spin it and select their coffee pod and stuff.
Are you
You need a
about to
big
say?
one.
You are about to say. You are.
You need a big one for ramen for cup of noodles.
Cup noodle carousel. Coming soon to Timu, Wish, whatever those apps are.
No, Temu.
Oh. Timmy, Tormo. Coming soon to
That was
Wish Junior.
that was the best thing about that commercial. They're like, it's pronounced Temu.
All right. So, yeah. Uh the other thing I do is furikake, rice seasoning. Throw a bunch of that on top of it.
I am not familiar.
It's little flakes of nori and little flakes of bonito mushrooms, and you can get it in a bunch of varieties with additional. It's a topping granules that you put on rice. But I have one that's got egg flakes in it, and it's awesome and it's amazing on rice. But throwing like a shake or two of that on a bowl of ramen is fantastic. And hashtag not spawns. There's a
Yet,
local
yet.
local hot sauce company I know from doing the craft show rounds called Scorch Garden. The guy makes his own homemade pepper sauces, and he takes the leftover like pepper mash from that, uh,
Oh,
and
dehydrator.
dries it and powders it and sells it
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
he calls it fire smut. And a shake of that in anything will add a pleasant spice and a nice flavor, and a container of it will last roughly forever because it is hot. A
Yeah.
little goes a long way. But that I always put that in my ramen. I have gotten hooked on hot stuff as I've like gotten old, and that's like that shit goes in everything now.
I have a container of. I don't know what it is. It's mostly sesame seeds and others. It's a shaker of stuff. It's mostly sesame seeds in it. Um, but like I'll throw a dash of that on like ramen because there was one of them I had that actually it came with the spice packet, but it also came with a little plastic baggie of sesame seeds, like a 16th of a teaspoon or something. It was like you could count the seeds in it. It was like, oh look, we put sesame seeds on it. And I'm like, this is good.
Sesame seeds themselves are good too, just
Yeah,
by the fistful. I wish. Although that
but
goes
is a
back to the sesame oil sauce and cold noodles, which I don't want to give Jiggy the satisfaction, but he's right. He's right. Cold rice noodles with like sesame topping. I'm into it.
can can you buy like ramen spice packets directly, like without ramen?
I'm not sure, but
Like I'll buy a box of 1,000 or something if I have to, but like then end up reselling most of them. But it's like I just want to add that stuff to other noodles. I want to make a big pot of like angel hair pasta and put ramen chicken flavoring over it.
go get a thing of like better than bouillon.
Yeah, but that takes work opposed to like tear open packet and I'm done.
Then get bouillon cubes.
Then I have to know how to operate bouillon cubes. I know how to operate a packet. It's step 1, open. Step 2, put air. Step 3, put in garbage.
Okay, that's the same thing, but it's a cube. Step one, take off one side. Step two, push on the other five until the cube comes out and goes in the water.
But it's cube. I don't have to operate powder. Do I stir the cube? Do I have to wait till it dissolves?
Sigh. All right. You're gonna make me do this, aren't you?
Careful sharing your
Individual uh
careful
bouillon
sharing your Google
packets.
autocomplete.
Yeah, I know. There. Individual bouillon packets.
Okay, okay, okay.
A 50 pack for $10, $11.
Jason, I'm sick. Email me some chicken noodle soup.
Email you some soup. I would do that for you. I would do that for you in a heartbeat. Although now you got me curious. I do want to tell you something else. Speaking of dumb things I've purchased on Amazon before, I bought a 5 pound bag of dehydrated vegetable flakes.
Yeah,
Throw those
ramen
in.
toppers,
Throw those in
ramen
everything.
toppers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're perfect for that.
I was getting ads for a while for a company that they're like frozen, like they're actual fresh vegetables and they're frozen, not dehydrated.
Yeah,
But it's like gourmet ramen toppers. Like add this to your ramen, your nickel ramen that doesn't have the vegetable packet.
I'm not too worried about that. Like if I'm eating ramen, even though I know you can
Well,
make fancy soup, if I'm eating ramen, even if it's fancy ramen still has a top level. That's like a gourmet burger. It's a burger at the end of the day.
no, there's actual like it's it's ramen toppers to make with things that aren't ramen.
Okay,
If you're going to make
I get you.
actual other noodles, but you want the ramen experience with other noodle shapes.
I get you. I get you.
Ramen flavoring with like rigatoni noodles.
I could get with that. I could absolutely get with that.
We're going to end up making ramen lasagna, aren't we?
I well, let me think about that. Let me think about that. Because in the packet, it's
If
got
you look,
one
there are
big
layers.
fold. Yeah.
Yeah, there are layers. If you very slightly moisten it, you can get those layers apart and you can do stuff with it. I have seen ramen lasagna.
Oh, good. That means we don't have to be the ones to do it. Man, that sounds good. I think that's what I'm gonna have for my like post stream snack tonight. Is I'm gonna have ramen with meatballs and fire smut and no
I
spinach.
had I had way too much heavy hearty food at the reception.
Repast. We were talking about this yesterday. The
Yes.
repast. The the rehearsal dinner for the funeral that happens after whatever the yeah.
Fine. Repast. A meal. A sumptuous repast. What the?
It's kind of one of them archaic whatevers.
It just means meal. But it's like it doesn't necessarily it's doesn't mean funeral. It just mean to eat or feast.
Right, but it's one of those things where like it's gained a meaning through connotation over time. Language is a dynamic and evolving thing. Speaking of food,
Oh, oh, it's a Latin thing. Okay,
speaking of
that means it
food
makes no. It means it makes no sense. Okay.
and dynamic things, let's talk about Wendy's.
Yes, I have opinions on this
I want to
because
hear
I've
what you're
consumed a.
thinking.
I've seen a lot of media about this, and they're all covering in a very specific way.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of stuff from a lot of a lot of TikToks, but also longer form YouTube discussion formats. The thing that gets brought up is They're not going. Okay, so in case nobody knows, Wendy's is doing two things. One, they're spending $20 million to update all of their drive-through signage to build electronic billboards, so they can, like McDonald's, so they can like change stuff on the fly. And it's not, oh look, we haven't touched these numbers in 73 years. Second, they are going to start doing surge pricing at peak times when the restaurant is slammed. Individual stores can, not always will, but can dynamically change and increase their prices. It is not a 2x multiplier. They said on average some of the larger burgers stuff can increase up to $1. It is not this $5 burger will now be $12. It will, if they're slammed at lunch, this burger will be now $6. So they can make more money during their peak times. If you look at it from the non-evil side of things, it actually does make sense, because during those peak times when they're, at lunchtime, where they're going to get the bulk of their stuff, because people have to eat on lunch, it makes sense. Get that extra bit of profit in there. Now, if we add the evil part back in, the thing that sucks is, and they said it will be clearly displayed when dynamic pricing is in effect, and they will clearly say, hey, this will be on, this is why it's a little bit more. But the thing is they haven't said they're going to do this, and they've made no indication that they are. And this is what all the workers are complaining about. They're not giving the workers any more money during those times. If they had said, hey, we're going to potentially do this, and then half that money goes to the workers on that shift, and half of it goes to the,
Yeah.
store profit or whatever, I think there would be a lot less pushback on this, because all the rideshare places do this. All of the delivery, I know a couple of the delivery places do this too during peak, Instacart times. Some markets, they're like, hey, we're slammed right now. Are you, for a slight discount, will you take a later delivery? Because then it's the same effect but in reverse, because they're just taking less of their profit. They're not giving you a discount. They're just taking less profit off of you. They're not charging you 10% more. They're giving you a 10% discount, but that was 10% of their profit,
Yeah.
to make you not be angry when your thing is late. And they also are going to be doing commercials explaining this too. It's not just it's going to start and like they're going to make it very well known before this starts. I understand why they're doing it. And fundamentally, I don't hate it,
With
because there is one more added side effect to this, which is something I know McDonald's does do, is because all that signage is dynamic, they can take shit off of the menu that they are out of. So as you're sitting there waiting, you're like, hey, can I get a thing? Like, oh, sorry, we're out of fish, or we're out of nuggets, or we're out of, like, oh, where's that thing? Like, oh, we're out of that. All the times, like Taco Bell is like, oh, we're out of, oh, you can't have that. We're out of beans. If just the 7 things with beans were striked out dynamically because it's all digital, cool. I know not to sit there and try to order stuff.
Yeah. I think surge pricing in general got a bad name because of Uber, and I'm going to call them out specifically. Because originally that wasn't passed to the drivers until they figured out how it was supposed to be. And
Yeah.
the amount of surge pricing, like when it's $73 to go 3 miles from the airport home just because it happens to be a Friday night, and it's $8 any other time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is the part that wasn't made clear in a lot of the media representation. And that's part of what had me so irrationally angry about it. So I'm glad you cleared that up for me. I don't like the idea of the possibility of not knowing how much dinner's going to cost when I leave the house. Like if it was not within a small fixed range.
Yeah, it is a very small range on not all of the stuff. It's probably the stuff they make the more profit. It's like on the meals. They're not
I
gonna
would
like
venture that
they're not
it's
gonna
the
jack up the
most.
cost of fries. They're gonna jack up the price on a burger by $1.
Yeah, it's the labor intensive stuff.
That's the other thing that they haven't said. That's why they said it's not going to be on all menu items. I think it's the stuff that is longer, and Wendy's does have, they do things in a very specific way.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever worked at a Wendy's or seen how they do stuff, it is a very dumbass process. It is very, there's a term for it. It's they take your order, they make your order, then they take the next person's order. It is does not overlap. It's the reason why they're so slow is basically they are making your food, not doing anybody else's, and then making the next person's. That's why they're slow, is there's no overlap. If they like McDonald's is dropping like just just constantly cooking fries because it's a
What's the
it's a
movie? The Ray Kroc movie. It came out relatively recently.
the founder.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a whole scene in there where like
Uh-huh.
he's standing watching over a kitchen, like a stage set up like a
Mm-hmm.
kitchen outdoors to optimize workflow. He wants
Yep.
everything to be in motion at all times. He made a factory process out of a food joint, and that wasn't how
Yes.
restaurants worked before that.
And Thomas didn't.
Yeah.
He made it. He kept it the old way where they made it for that.
And that's why you'll get fresh food and you'll get like a relatively consistent quality at least. Like you're not. That's a whole different debate.
I would almost rather see this. I could see this being better implemented and it going over better. I could see, I think if this doesn't entirely blow up in their face, I see it coming to other places.
That terrifies me.
I mean, it's,
With the recent trend in shrinkflation, for one thing,
oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
like in combination of a number of other pieces of late stage capitalism hellscape, the
Mm-hmm.
concept of everyone embracing surge pricing terrifies me on top of everything else.
Yeah. Oh, my back is killing me from all the standing.
Oh
There's so much
no.
standing around the last 2 days. And then
Do your ballet stretch, the one where you're like palms up, hands laced, and just.
also the funeral parlor chairs suck.
Oh, always, invariably.
Yeah. Any chairs that have to be tiny and efficient and stackable, they all suck.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just don't want anything to make it any more challenging than it already is to get my spicy nugs and my frosty. And Tremulous, I'm gonna hit you up later for your frosty recipe because if I can make a frosty at home, I'm halfway there.
Oh, I have that recipe.
Okay, well the two of you, I need that recipe. I need
Yeah, no,
my
it
spicy
starts
nugs and
off
my
with like
frosty.
it's like a gallon of chocolate milk and then a gallon of cream and then like 4 ounces of whipped cream. You blend it real well and then you put it in the freezer for like 4 hours.
I'm into
That's
it.
it.
I have said this before, and I will convert every last person I know. Everyone's like fries and a frosty. That's the traditional thing. You eat the frosty with the fries. You dip the fries in the frosty. No, the spicy nuggets. Dip those in a chocolate frosty. You will not regret it. I mean, unless you're allergic to spicy nuggets or Frosties make you puke blood. You might regret it then. The point is, if you do not have any complications with those items separately, you will savor the combination of them together. I lived off that at Zeldathon. We took Jiggy out to Bar Louie one night. I went to the Indian place one night. Whatever. I lived off of spicy nuggets and frosties. And when I came home from the Zeldathon, I got hit with the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, so I was down for about a week. After I was home, I lived off of Wendy's spicy nuggets and frosty as I was recuperating and recovering. I'm telling you, it's way better than it deserves to be.
I had a slew of text messages I had to ignore.
Fair enough. I've been kind of tuning mine out too. My little electronic leash is just like on the desk, and I'm like, just stay over there. We'll get to you later.
The chances of any of them hearing this are near zero. The gaggle of parents, they're not all moms. There is a couple dads in there, but of the people who run my daughter's Girl Scout troop, they decided to use text messaging as their way of communication. And if you've ever had a group chat with a bunch of random people, of people that may or may not have everybody's number, that has to, oh, and now we have to add this new person, you do not just add them to the chat room. You have to start a whole new text message chain. But it's half iPhones, half not. So it's whole and complicated, and everybody likes to react, and then someone will send a long diatribe message, and then people will react to that, and so it sends it the long form, and so you get the same block over and over and over and over and over and over. Yeah. And every time they start a new message, because I mute that group chat because they just talk and talk and talk, and I don't need to have my phone buzz when it's a gaggle of moms messaging. So I go and I rename the group chat Scout Chat version 2, Scout Chat version 3. We're up to I just made the new one version 8. I just found out yesterday that other people see that. It's not naming it on my end. I am setting it for all the iPhone users can see that because I set the name of that chat.
I see. It's horrible.
No, apparently they liked it.
Oh dear.
Because this way they knew which one was the newest one they should be messaging in. Because they also had the problem of which of these blobs of names do I message? I don't know which is the newest one that somebody joined, somebody left, et cetera, et cetera. They were not sure which one to message, which is why nobody did. When I started naming them sequentially, they know, find the highest number and message that.
All right, now that's pretty useful. I'll give you that.
Only the iPhone people can see that because it sends it over. It's an iMessage thing.
I don't know. I'm a diehard Android guy personally. Speaking of which, I need to talk to you later, Mr. Fuzzy, about iOS stuff, but that's much later and Hergel related, and also Can Do and everything else. But I'm saying it out loud so I remember to message you later, keeping my little notes out loud. I used to be in the Scouts for a very little while.
I remember.
I left because the meetings were the same time as ALF. There's your true story of J trivia for the day. I quit the Scouts because I wanted to watch ALF. Which also tells you how long ago it was. So.
I almost got kicked out of a million years ago. I played football. I almost got kicked out because I was late to a bunch of practices because our practice was supposed to start at like 12:30, but it was like 20 minutes away, and Power Rangers came on at 11:30. 11:30 to 12 was when the new Saturday morning Power Rangers episodes were on. And I was very into them in my young youth years. And it was end of the season or something. and it was like season finale, big thing happening, and I refused to get in the car. And like they went like, oh, we're gonna just turn the TV off because like, just turn. I'm like, no, this is a formative moment in my child. If I do not see this, I will be a pariah in the school. And they went to go turn the TV off, and I ran over there and I smacked the remote out of my dad's hand, and it and it hit the ground and it broke. And they went to go turn off the TV, and I tackled him because I was in football, so I had the muscle strength to shoulder check somebody out of the way because they were going to turn the TV off manually. And it's like, no, I am watching this. This is not a debate. I will be late. I don't care. And then that was like the third or fourth time I was late. So they're like, I'm like, I don't care. Oh no, I missed 30 seconds of running.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that, like, part of that is they want to instill discipline and all of that, but, like, it ain't the Army. It's junior high football. Christ's
No,
sakes.
it was a travel team. It was all like optional. It was like through a school or rec center, so
Oh,
it was like paid for their time or something. One of those things. So it was like,
yeah.
no, show up because it was, yeah.
Man. Man. Yeah. No, that no good. That all kinds of no good.
Yes, yes, I would have been in the ground too. But again, they were trading me to play football. I was large mass with energy behind it. I was not a person you would stop.
You might be able to slow him down, but that's just minimal inertia. That ain't.
Yeah, I was the unstoppable force. Chris, put a hole there. Okay. That was basically what they did. Like, I wouldn't learn the plays. They're like, we need a hole in the middle. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Just tell me what to do. I don't need to know crazy.
In Canada, just to go back a million topics of conversation, we have Maruchan and Top Ramen and everything. In Canada, they
Mm-hmm.
have Mr. Noodle.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
There's a chart somewhere I saw similar to the 800 million names for like Mountain Dew, all the mountains and the dews and the lightnings,
Yeah.
and the same for ramen. Every off-brand local region, it's all the same stuff. Half of it's still produced by uh
The big exporter
not
that does all Nissan or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
not Nissan. Is it Nissan?
Might be.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like, is that the car? No.
No, that's Nissan. All right. All right. Speaking of food, one more food topic. Have you tried any of
Yes.
the new Taco Bell stuff yet?
No. I went there the other day. Um, and because I did. Oh, I actually stopped there on last night actually because I decided I was still hungry after that
After
one
chicken?
chicken
Yeah.
sandwich because that was the only food I had all day to do.
Yeah.
Um,
For a brief
and
little interruption backstory, Fuzzy messaged me yesterday and said, "Hey, have you eaten today? I'm at Kane's Chicken right now. It's over in your neighborhood. Do you want me to bring you some?" And I'm like, "Wow, I did completely forget to eat today. Yes, I'd love some chicken tenders." So he just showed up and we had chicken tenders. Anyway,
um, I asked like, "Do you have any of the new stuff?" They're like, "No, not yet. Our truck does like it came out the day after our truck was here, so we won't get it till the next one." And I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "You and everybody else." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "I just give me the $7 sadness box with a diet Mountain Dew." And he's like, "Okay."
yeah, yeah. I'm I'm
Oh,
I'm really tempted to try the Crispinata. I don't know what to think about it, but I'm tempted to try the Crispinata. And look at you over there in our chat, Tremulous Star with the Loca Mocha and the Mean Bean and the salted caramel and the fucking flavors they keep making instead of the flavors they discontinue, which are the ones they like. I'm so mad about that. I'm going to try real hard not to yell too much, but I am so mad about that. They
It's
just
like
discontinued the Vanilla Light.
the black cherry monster.
They got rid of the Kona blend. They got rid of the Farmer's Oats with the oat milk. I loved that one. They got rid of the Swiss chocolate. That one was amazing. And then they took away my Vanilla Light, the low sugar one that I had to switch to after they got rid of all the other ones. And then it turned out that, oh, sugar is going to kill me. And then they're like, oh, that low sugar one you used to like? Yeah, get bent.
Although what I did find out is, uh, let me reinflate this. I started getting. Oh yeah, my camera's down here. Uh, flavor water, sparkling flavor water stuff. Right.
Yeah.
I found out this and a can of White Monster. You pour them in a big jug and then you pour it back in there. Now you have black cherry energy drink.
Hmm. I've been I've
Yeah.
been making do with my hashtag not sponsed but someday liquid death, which I am hooked through the gills completely on the teas. The waters are good, but the teas are where it's at, man. Cause
Which one is TV static? Is it the white one? Is that the one you hate?
yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah,
white TV?
yeah.
All these knockoff brand of Monster is called Gridlock.
That does not sound positive to put in your body. Okay, neither does
Oh,
liquid death, but it's deliberate. You know what I mean?
Gridlock, ultra white energy drink with caffeine.
Gridlock sounds like we want to be intense and edgy, so we're going to make it sound like your blood's going to stop moving through your body. No, wait, no, that's not the intention we had here. At least Liquid Death, it's like tongue in cheek. It's like, yes, murder your thirst. Okay, well, I'm on board with that. I'm thirsty and I'm angry about it. Let's fix that. But yeah, Liquid Death, the teas are amazing if you go into it knowing that it is tea flavored water.
Yes.
It is not a strong tea. It is a tea, but it is not a strong tea. And they are low in sugar, but they are not no sugar, so it's a little bit on the sweet side. Grim Leafer is probably my favorite still. Like no lemon, no nothing, just tea and sweet. But
They are very light on the sugar though. It's like
tastes like cantaloupe water. Okay, I could get into that. You got me curious on that. I'm gonna have to try that one. Watermelon liquid IV. I like that.
oh yeah. Yeah, liquid IV is good. It's Gatorade. It's Gatorade powder.
I'm into that.
It's hydration multiplier. It's got salt in it, so you uptake the liquid a little faster. It's powdered Gatorade.
I'm
On
into it,
demand
man.
Gatorade?
I'm
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. That's my jam right there. That's my scene.
Do we want to take a break?
Yeah. Do you want to take a 5-ish, 10-ish minute break and go
Eh,
top up
five's
drinks and
fine.
everything? Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna take 5. We will be back in just a few. Don't you stay here. Go anywhere. Haha. See you in 5.
I am back.
Let
Back.
me turn on some audio here so people know that we are back. And I will turn off the BRB screen. I have additional playing with that thing. That one thing. OBS. What am I using to broadcast?
Some sort of broadcast software
Yes, I do need to
for all the
adjust that a
for
little
all
bit.
the home audio listeners.
Where was the satisfying can crack? Where was that?
Dude, I these ones with the brown thing,
Yeah.
it's like setting off a.
Putting in the nuclear launch codes to get to your beverage. I feel you. I feel you. But hey, if it works, right? Who am I to complain?
But we were talking about flavoring packet things.
Yeah. You've got the Skittle ones.
Come on.
Green apple. I can
Yeah.
kind of make it out. It's one of them
Oh yeah, this
M&Ms with the S on it.
this one this is the focus length one. That's why I had to
Ah.
buy. That's why I had to buy this camera because this one will autofocus on depth. This one is meant to only be a webcam, and its focal plane is like approximately here to like here, and that's it.
I should figure out eventually. I'm pretty happy with my single camera setup right now, but I'd like to figure out where and how and which to mount a few more. But that's going to wait until I get a few more cameras I'm happy with. Because I was using that C920, the Logitech one, for a very long time, but it won't do 1080p 60. And I mean, I know I'm not right now, but I want to be able to. Commercials? Well, that's unacceptable. You know, if you do get commercials during our show, although I'm saying this to people who are looking at the ads right now, you can avoid those commercials by subscribing. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying it is an option you have, you know. But I don't know. Speaking of which, Jiggy put in his partner reapplication last night. Let's all wish our good friend of the show and upcoming guest Jiggy11 good luck on his push for partner. Um, one of these Wednesdays we're going to have him hang around. Maybe we'll grill him with questions about a secret project we're working on for him. Hmm? Hmm? That could be fun. You didn't miss a whole lot, I promise. I mentioned that Jiggy11's put in his partner application. We're all wishing him luck, and I made my normal attempt to shill and tell people, hey, if you're tired of the ads, you could always subscribe. It's cheaper than Netflix, and you never get ads on anything I stream when you subscribe.
And there's a discount if you buy more than 1 month at a time too.
That is true. That is true. Give to me all of your money, please, because I want to do this kind of
If you're
stuff full time.
if you're gonna sub to somebody, sub for at least 3 months and get the discount.
Yeah, no, it makes
Because
a significant difference.
because chances are if you're at the point of fandom that you are willing to give money to somebody, because it does go to the part of it does a at least half of it goes to the portion of the streamer. If you're willing to give them money, you're likely going to be able to give them, you want to support them for a while. So you might as well do it for less money. It costs you less, but the streamer still gets that full five, whatever their cut of $5 is. So
Yeah.
you might as well get less towards, Daddy Bezos.
I mean, in theory, you could also just give money directly to your favorite streamers. Pretty much everyone's got a mechanism of tipping, and in some
I don't.
cases, I'm gonna fix that for you.
Yeah, probably should.
Eventually, if I have to direct it at my PayPal account and not tell you about it, I'm still going to set up a way for you to accept tips.
And if you sub to people, you can get wonderful things like this.
Oh, yeah, you can get access to all the exclusive emotes if you subscribe. God, I did not intend to turn this into a sales pitch. I really didn't. But I digress. That's enough of that. Twitch is a weird ecosystem in the first place. I'm glad it exists in the form it does. I'm glad that I can like bring a show like this to anyone who wants to watch and not have to spend a pile of money to do it cuz you know, that's nice. And to have that interactivity, to be able to look over at chat and not be able to read what's going on because my brain's moving at half speed or
Even though we don't actually have chat on this scene amongst.
that is true. We don't. That is something to write down. Put that in our little shared document there. I see you're already looking at the notes section on it. We'll add chat to this scene one way or another. Um, but yeah, no, I watch. I find. I'll be honest with you. Like, it is not all because of Zeldathon. It is not all because of Jackson. But cumulatively between those two things, I have grown into watching way more Twitch than I watch anything else. Like I'll put on people I like or know and just kind of watch them do what they're doing.
So there are there's a technology. Technically it's always been a podcast, but it's basically a live show called the WAN Show with the Linus Tech Tips people. They do on Friday evenings. Um, it's a live show. They are streaming it. They're also recording it to post it to YouTube and podcasts and blah blah blah. But I've gotten the habit of it's a live show. I can't pause it. I also watch a lot of Twitch. I cannot pause it. Sometimes if I miss the show on Fridays, I will watch it on YouTube. And I'll be listening, while I'm cleaning and stuff. And I'll get up and I walked away from the computer because my brain is trained. It's a live show. You can't pause it. And I got up and I walked away from the YouTube and left it playing while I left the room. I come back and I'm like, I'm watching it on YouTube. A, I can rewind it to where I walked out of the room. B, I could have just paused it.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing, and Fuzzy, you got me in the habit of this, which I'm sure is just complicating things with my self-diagnosed ADHD, is
I don't. Yep.
I don't watch a streamer on
Nope.
Twitch.
Nope.
I usually have at least two open. One that I'm paying primary attention to, one that I'm there in the audience to support and kind of watching from the background.
So here's the thing. If you are there to support them, like get their help views up, don't do more than two people.
Right,
Twitch will only register 2 sessions.
right.
They do that because of streamers. You may need to have another one open to
Yeah,
view it or whatever. But if you don't have like 5 people up, because only be the most 2 recent that you were in focus and active in will count you as a viewer.
yeah. If I'm ever in a situation where there's more than two people I'd like to watch it, it comes down to a lot of coin flips or thinking about who I've been, pushing for the most recently or whatever. I try my best to always catch it when you're streaming, like gaming or dev stuff. I like you. I like hanging out with you and talking to you. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this right now. So I will, like, usually you are my priority stream. And recently, Jiggy's been like my support stream in the background. Or if there's not anyone else on, I really enjoy watching and being part of his community. But if it's split attention, he's usually open and then falls to the background. And God, I hope he forgives me for saying that. But I'm sure he'll understand. He's another one of those people that Twitch as a whole is a big community. And a lot of the people who stream very strongly support the other people they know who stream.
That is one of the most often quoted, wait, how to grow a channel, etc., is interact with other people.
Yeah.
Go hang out in their streams. Don't just drop it. Like, hey, we should collaborate. Like, become part of their community. Get them to know you, and then chances are they're going to get to know you. They're going to see that you're. They may see that they're going to see. Oh, oh, is also a streamer or something. Some dashboard say like this person is an active streamer, not just a user on Twitch.
Yeah.
Or it may come up because you have interacted with that person. And if they follow you, they see you because they interacted. Sometimes like, oh, Twitch will be like, well, here's some random people to follow. It's because people you interacted with. Yeah, it
It
basically is
is.
old style networking.
It really is. It
But
really
because
is.
but that gets you in their thoughts, and then like when they're in a stream, if they're like, they if they're also a smaller streamer, they've got like 20 people, we'll go right over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
And then
share
it's
your audience
exposure.
and show common interests. It goes so
Yes.
far. It goes so far.
And in a medium like this where you can easily just go somewhere else, you can also just send someone somewhere else.
Yeah. That's the other thing
You
with
know,
Twitch and rating. Like at the end of my shows, I usually try to raid someone if I can. I will take the people who watch me and point them in the direction of someone else that I watch and like. And, you'll hear people give the same kind of speech. You don't have to stick around, but go say hi. Check them out.
so here's the thing. If you've got a pack of people, if you're lazy, you use the rating thing so it'll just will shift your audience over.
Yeah.
If you got somebody like Jiggy that's trying to get their numbers up, don't use raid. Paste in their channel, let them click it, because they go through raid, it gets counted differently for a little while. I think they have to be watching it on their own for, I think the raid flag is 90 minutes,
Yeah.
and then you're counted as a normal viewer towards their average goal audience, blah blah blah. You didn't just like get rated over there, for a little bit, because it's like, yeah, your numbers went up, but it was kind of artificially inflated. But if you stick around for longer than that, you're actually becoming a part of their community.
Right.
I've seen some older streamers talk about this. Because that's how you rated before rating was a first party feature of Twitch.
You
Is you would just
pasted in
paste
the
the channel
link.
and everybody went. And that's how a lot of older streamers got partner and stuff a lot quicker, is because of numbers like that. And as Twitch has built out their dashboards better, and it shows like, oh, your average streamer not counting raids or not counting people that click through the homepage. If you get featured in the carousel on the front page, people that click through that also the same way do not count as a normal community viewer.
Until
I mean, they
after a
count as
certain time has passed. Yeah.
right because they like click through, they just got exposed, blah blah blah. So
I usually just go ahead and raid. I know it's a lazy thing and not necessarily the 100% best support, but it's also my intention is to show you someone I think you might like to watch.
it has been brought up numerous times on the Twitch user voice of, if somebody does get rated, they get screwed out of that because of that. And people are actively complaining and actively saying, no, we're going to circumvent, we're not going to use the raid. Go there manually so you don't get flagged. It's you just going to their channel. And it's like, if it is that circumventable, just stop doing your math that way,
Yeah.
because it's bullshit. Let people use the raid feature. It's easier to get more people to not click and just move this stuff over. Or if
Yeah.
you're watching, rating doesn't work entirely. It doesn't work on if you're casting to a TV. Sometimes raid on mobile doesn't work right.
I will keep that in mind. I will take that under advisement. Maybe we'll go show our affection for Jiggy the good old fashioned way at the end of stream today.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole world of like Twitch as an income source, Twitch as a business model for people who produce content is weird and hairy and scary and all of that kind of stuff. I do not think I will ever be at a point where I get partnership. I don't anticipate it. I don't think I'm going to have a full like that level of attention. Which direction behind me? Over here where Sarge is sleeping, or there where the guitar is, or my painting of Garfield, or is there a cat over here somewhere? Probably. I have, I have, I have a friend that was paring down his collection of stringed instruments in general, not just guitars, but basses and other weird stuff, and a lot of ethnic instruments. And he hit me up one day and said, my basement is full, my collection is overflowing. I don't want to throw them away. I'm too lazy to sell them. Do you want a pile of instruments?" And yes, I want a pile of instruments. Yes, I want a ridiculous 15 string bass. You know,
That thing frightens me.
it does. I don't even know how to tune it. I have to go look what the tuning is for a 15 string bass and then
It's
actually
twice
tune
as
it.
intensive as a regular bass.
No, a regular bass has 4 strings.
Where is?
But in that pile, I got Trongo Diablo. I got a balalaika. I got a guitalele, which is a 6 string. Um, Walter Becker from Steely Dan calls it quite accurately gear acquisition syndrome, and I have a very bad case of it. Yes, no, it is 100% a problem. Do I need an intervention? No. What I need is to also not be lazy and sell half of them.
Yeah.
But I digress. Like I need to figure out a way to sell them that does not take a lot of effort from me. I would take a cut in profit to find a middleman to sell them for me, but I would not take the cut in profit that taking them and dumping them at Guitar Center would give me. You know?
No.
No, that is not okay. But there are many that I would be willing to part with for a shockingly low amount of money. I just need to either do it or pay someone to do it for me. Because I do need to pare that collection down quite a bit to make room for all the other instruments I want. I should look into that, like a gear swap group for the area. Maybe I could find something I want and trade guitars for it. Do you want a 15 string bass and trade for an old busted Prophet synth? Or a 15 string bass in trade for an EWI, for an electric wind instrument? Steven's got me just about sold on the Elisa, the electric sax he used in the Pilot Wings video.
Yeah.
He
That thing is.
The more he
Yeah.
talks about working with that, the more I'm like, yeah, I think I actually do kind of want one of those. So it's on my list to look into and maybe pick up at some point. I do want one. I do want one. Whether or not I'm going to get one, I do want one. By the way, I'm not going to shout him out here on Twitch, but on YouTube, if you're into video game music at all, go look up the amazing Stephen Morris. His newer videos have been absolutely outstanding. His old videos are absolutely outstanding. He arranges and orchestrates and plays them all himself. He's a hell of a guy. He's a hell of a guy. When did I get to like know actual musicians? Is this all just because of my extreme fanboyism of Jackson and then like
Yes.
getting into Zeldathon?
Yes.
I was on the Compendium podcast. The Zeldathon team has a Patreon podcast that they do monthly, and they interview one of the team members about how you got started and all of that. And I was on that with MC, and it came up in conversation there. He said, "How did you get into this?" And it's like, well, I've kind of half watched Zeldathon for a while. It's a thing that I knew existed, and then I started to like stalk Jackson Brody, And just take coming in and taking charge of his community by force. I don't have any official title, but like I'll try to arrange events and we'll host chat nights or whatever and all of that. But because I became very active in his community and he worked with Zeldathon, when they had an opening, they're like, "Hey, wait, this is for a development team lead. That's effectively what you do at work." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." And I applied, and they were dumb enough to let me in. Anyway, that's how I got to meet all these people. That's how I got to meet Doug. That's how I got to meet Danny. That's how I got to meet Starmy. That's how like all of the yeah. And now I know all these people, and they're helping me with music for yet another secret project I'm working on. I guess it's not really that secret. Metroid Marathon is coming late spring, and I inserted myself into that event through some mutual friends. So you'll see what's going on with that. You'll see. Maybe we'll
It
show it off one of
is.
these weeks. It is a thing.
It's yes.
It sure is the kind of thing I would write. I will say that 100%. You know me, I like to take games and either mash two of them together or take one and take out the important part. It's a Metroidvania without the Metroid or the Vania.
I mm, I don't think I like that.
I don't either. That's not right at all. That's terrible and bad. Although now I want to write a Castlevania game. Yeah, maybe someday.
Well, you know what the
Maybe
next
someday.
evolution of that is.
Hmm.
Now that you have a runner that basically moves on its own, you need like a an idle a what's the D&D auto battler thing they have for idle realms or something like that.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Batman plays it on the Switch, but it's on like all the platforms. You
Yeah.
build the party, you put it up, and it sort of auto fights itself. You need one of those for Castlevania.
Ooh.
Build your team out of your different Richters and Belmonts and stuff, and it's an auto battle to the right, and zombies and vampires and all the mobs from all the games. Because if you have the heroes from all the games, you have all the mobs from all the games coming from the other side, and it just who you put in the front gets first attack and support things in the back. So give them like the holy water or the boomerang, or or put the whips in the front. Put your party in different order and just do literally that game with Castlevania assets.
All right. Yeah. I like that one. I'll have to remember that one. That's a good one.
And it's basically build your team of AI and fight against monster AI in waves until you die. And it's sort of roguelike.
Yeah.
It's waves after waves. You keep what you keep after checkpoints. It's, try to get farther. But you don't have to like actually do the battle.
You put in the numbers, it does the math. Yeah.
It's fantasy football.
It is. It is. D&D is fantasy football. You track everyone's stats and then something outside of your control happens and based on which numbers you pick either you go up or you go down. That's yeah.
No, other way around. Fantasy
When
football is D&D.
well, yeah, they are the same thing. It doesn't matter which one is which if they are one and the same. It's just which skin do you throw over it? How do you dress it up? What makeup is it wearing? I don't know, man. Speaking of games, I have a question for you. I could go look this up on Google, but I want you to tell me, and then we should discuss a little further. There is a term that is going around a lot now, and it's something very near and dear to me that I still don't understand entirely, but it has what is a cozy game?
Little to the left.
Okay, why is it a cozy game?
Also, Stardew Valley. It's anything Animal Crossing. Generally, maybe not little to the left. That's more puzzle, but it is
Is it
the
about the
best way I could.
is it a combination of aesthetic and mechanic?
Yes, it is more about the mechanic. It is not. It is not an Elden Ring. It is not a the other Elden Ring horrible thing where you die a lot. What's that called?
The Souls, whatever. Souls likes.
Yeah, it is not. It is not a Twitch, fighter game. It is not, a complex art. It is a casual game that you would sit down and play, and you don't have to have fast reflexes, and you can just pick it up, and it's nice and relaxing. It is Animal Crossing. Every spirit of animal. When you think of Animal Crossing, you're just, I'm gonna dig a hole. I'm gonna put a plant in it.
So,
You're not running farming simulator thing and you got to manage all. You're not running farm simulator. It is, I'm going to plant a thing and then it is done.
okay, so combat is not the focus. That is one key thing.
Generally they don't even have combat. If they do, it is super super light, and that's only because I guess the closest would be like Stardew Valley technically
With the
has
mines,
combat
yeah.
in the mines, which you don't entirely have to go into.
You
People do, and
you have to opt into the mines. They're not core to gameplay.
yes, you don't have to go out and fight things. Generally, cozy games don't have. Yes, not enemy centered. That is a good.
Okay, but
Yeah.
like Candy Crush Saga would not be a cozy game. And that's the aesthetic difference.
So
Like if I'm
no,
trying to draw the
no.
line between casual and cozy.
Casual generally is anything you could just pick up and play. You may be addicted to it, but you can just pick it up and play it.
Okay.
I would say so. Generally, there used to be a term called slice of life,
Yeah.
and that's where your
Unpacking's
harvest
a good example.
your Harvest Moon and your Stardew Valley and that
Yeah.
sort of, just I'm gonna go about my day because it's like I'm gonna escape from my life to go be a different life in a video game and do chores inside a game because
Virtual ski ball. Yeah, no, I get you.
yeah.
Okay.
um
So one of the core components of cozy game is not necessarily you are interacting with a whole world, but there is a world, at least conceptually, canonically in the game. It has story or lore elements. It is not a pure puzzle game.
well, let's ask the Oracle.
Ooh. Oh, I want to add something to my notes. Okay. I added a note for us for next week. I have a
Okay.
terrible, terrible idea.
A cozy game typically refers to a video game that elicits feelings of comfort, warmth, and relaxation. These games often prioritize a soothing and pleasant atmosphere over intense competition or challenging gameplay. Several elements contribute to defining a cozy game: aesthetic and art style, sound and music, gameplay mechanics, community and social interaction, narrative and storytelling, customization and creativity, exploration and relaxation. Popular examples of cozy games include titles like Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, Spiritfarer, and Cozy Grove.
I could get with that. I could get with that.
It is not, especially the customization, because you can put stuff where you want it. You can
Yeah.
decorate within a limited scope how you want it, and it becomes your copy of it. It is not their copy of the game, and you are on a railroad. It is, I can decorate it how I want.
So customizability is a not a necessity, but a big. It raises the coziness factor of a game in a nebulous, non-metric sense. It makes it more cozy.
Here's the difference with a cozy game. In Animal Crossing, they give me, here is a painting, go put it in your house. I can choose where I want it. If I want the paintings on that wall, because I'm gonna put the TV on that wall, cool. Opposed to, here is an item for your house. It goes in your house. It adds +1 stats. You're never actually gonna look at it, but it just goes in there.
Please stop eating my hand. Madison Square Garden, I love you. You have to stop.
Yes, I have also heard the same thing about Spiritfarer. I I own it. I bought it a while ago. I have put it off, and I was about to go play it this week as my next new indie screw around game. Although I don't,
Is it going on your
I
wheel?
say it's already on my wheel,
Okay, okay.
but I wait. Is it? Let me open this. Yeah, it's on my
Okay.
wheel, but uh, it hits hard emotionally, especially dealing with past loved ones. Not all
Fair.
of it, but there are some of the. Do you know the concept behind Spiritfarer?
I do not.
It is a game about shuffling people to the other side, but some people get stuck, and you have to resolve their. Basically, you have to resolve their issues and help them
Psychopomp the video
unstuck.
game.
Basically,
All
yes.
right, all
There's
right.
there's a little bit more in there, but it has been refined over a couple of years in expansions, and I think the final for real version is out. But and it's got a lot of content, but it hits hard. It really does.
I'm
I've
curious and
watched.
terrified from that description.
I don't know if I want to play it on. I know I need to play it, and it may help me now. I don't know if I want to play it on stream in case I break down crying. I did very well the last almost week until the guy with the guitar got up and started singing and playing guitar, and I lost it.
You are allowed to cry.
Yes, I know,
Okay, just
but I already did. But I did my crying a week ago when I went to see her.
fair, fair. I just mean in a grand global sense.
No, I'm
I'm
not.
I'm I'm giving you permission to break down if you're ever at the breakdown point. Please. Repressing emotions just makes them show up and you have to, I'm a tumor, I'm a tumor. No, sorry. Family Guy joke. Worst one ever. That was anger. Anger repressed made Lois. I don't know. The point is,
Why were you asking about cozy games? That was a leading question.
because I don't know if the new one that I'm working on is a cozy game, but I'm not ready to get there yet.
I would say cozy aesthetic, but not necessarily cozy game.
Okay.
It depends. A cozy game, generally, they don't have timers. You can play at your own pace.
Yeah.
If you've got a timer or a thing that counts down until, whatever.
Can we
What
make a game about a donut shop?
the hell is that?
Fish tank? I have no idea.
No, there's a wall over there. What is that?
I have no idea.
Oh!
Manny. Uh-oh.
It's the edge of a clock that's hanging, but at the exact
Ah.
perfect angle it is, the sides of it
Yeah.
are silver, and it's reflecting
The
my
color of
the screen.
yeah.
Oh god, I'm like, what is this? It's a wall. There shouldn't be a white bar over there. I'm like,
why,
okay,
why
it's
do I
in.
have a mysterious hologram floating in my basement?
It's a radio. It's a clock, but I just changed the batteries in it, and I had to hang it up near the window so it would
Yeah.
set the time, and I forgot about it, so it's just hanging in midair over half of a hammock.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, we should make a game about a donut shop, and it will be similar to Papa's Pizzeria or whatever. People come in and place orders, but I don't want the timer. I want you to run a cafe where people come in and put in orders, and then eventually you take them to them. I want it relaxed. I want it low stress.
I have an idea
Okay.
for a business.
Uh oh.
Soft pretzel store. Okay. Chewy pretzels, not crunchy pretzels.
Not Chex Mix ruiners. Yeah.
Yes. But you know how pretzels, it's kind of like a knot,
Yeah.
and they're made out of dough?
Yeah.
Call the place Doughnuts. DOUGH-NOTS. Doughnuts.
KNOTS, but yes.
Yeah. What did I say?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna go to the donut shop and get
Oh
some
man.
pretzels.
Oh man. That's
But you
terrible.
get
I
like
love it.
you can get the small snack ones that you like dip in mustard, or you get like a big one that you just like chew toy it. And
Can you get a pizza size one to share with your friends?
also sell like pretzel buns, for making sandwiches and stuff like that. But it'll be centered around pretzels.
It's a pretzel joint with a funny name and also cafe feel.
I went to a bar one day with Jess. She was dropping her car off,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Okay, the car's gonna be like more hours than I was gonna sit here, but the car's gonna be like from some hours. Come get me, and we'll go to lunch." And we went to some random sports bar, and we just wanted like appetizers to like kill some time,
Yeah.
and they had pretzel. It just said pretzel, and
Okay.
it was like $9. That there was no other description, and I'm like, "We would like a pretzel," and she's like, "What sauces do you want?" I'm like, "I don't know, a mustard, a barbecue, and then something else."
Okay.
And they brought out this pretzel. I swear to God, it was like the size of my head. It
I'm
was
into it.
a pretzel, a big, thick, like somebody would have like, double-ended marital aid size folded into a pretzel.
Sorry, you caught me there. You got me good. You got me good.
It was a big, thick, girthy pretzel. Okay,
I mean, how the hell would I know? I assure you that's what I meant to say.
but
Yeah,
she
no.
brought it out on a tray, and it was like, this is a whole thing. And I'm like, I would come, and I'm like, I want to come here just to get a pretzel.
Yeah.
Like, screw all the beers and the food stuff. I just want pretzels. I'm like, I want I want a business that just sells good. I want the upscale version of Annie Ann's.
Yeah. Can they still have pretzel dogs though?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, good because like that's I one of my favorite mall foods is Annie Ann's pretzel dogs. They're
But
something
not the
about
little
them.
ones. They dry out too much.
Right. Yeah. The little ones have too much surface area is the problem.
Well, the heat dries them out.
Yeah.
Whereas the full pretzel dogs, because they're wrapped, the ends dry out, but the rest of the meat stays sealed in the bread and stays moist and hot
It
and
stays
delicious.
appropriately hot doggy.
Yeah.
It does not jerky up like the little ones do. Hot dog jerky. That sounds awful. I think Mr. Sausage did that on ordinary sausage. He dehydrated hot dogs. I don't want to think about that anymore. That's not going good places.
What else did we have on our? We have an agenda. I made an agenda for this reason.
We did. We did. We did.
Um, what media or games have you played or consumed?
Well, I did all my dailies in a little to the left. And I've been watching. I've kind of been rewatching the Handmaid's Tale, but it is a challenging watch in general, especially because with every passing day it feels less far fetched. So with House, I can binge. I can binge House. I like House. I know there are times it's tougher to watch and everything, but like I can binge House. I cannot do that with Handmaid's Tale. It is a deliberate choice to watch each episode. And if I watch three back to back, I have chosen to watch them one at a time.
There's a lot of media. I have a whole checklist of media backlog, because I was busy and stuff. But it's all stuff that I wanted to actively watch.
Yeah, not put on in the background and ignore while you do something.
Yes. The problem was a lot of the movies were things that I wanted to sit down on the couch and watch on the TV and watch it like a movie theater.
Yeah,
I didn't want to like passively watch it on, on my TV here. I wanted to not be on my phone, not be like, I want to watch a movie, because a lot of it's good movies. There's a lot of shit movies that sometimes I just watch or whatever. If I'm going to watch media, I'm going to watch YouTube or Twitch or
yeah,
something. I just need to consume some media. The So I have a huge backlog of movies, but a lot of the TV shows that are on my backlog are also that way. They're shows I actually want to watch and pay attention to. I
yeah.
want to sit down and watch it. Even if I binge an entire season, I'll sit there, but I want to sit on the couch, or maybe I'll sit here. Maybe sometimes I got a foot ornament thing. Like but I don't want to like be doing something else. I want to consume that media.
Right, right. You are dead. Your attention is focused there.
But I have so many movies over the last 10 years that I never had time. I never had time to go to the movies between work and then marriage and then kids. Like I just didn't. And even before that, I had a bunch of movies that I just missed because before that, I was also back and forth to California a bunch. I have basically between 15 and 20 years of just media that I've been behind on, in addition to even stuff older than that I just never watched.
Yeah.
So I watched I did not watch Handmaid's Tale. I was in a household that three different people were watching Handmaid's Tale at different points in the series at different lengths, because some people could sit down and watch one episode, and other people could sit and watch 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And then the other person would go back and watch it back then. So there was always, at different points in the timeline, somebody watching some episode of it somewhere in the house.
So you were exposed to enough of it to understand, but you did not sit and watch. I get that.
I would get a little interested. I'd sit and watch, sit down with them and watch an episode or two, and actually got into it. And I liked the story. I'm like, I need to go back and watch this. And it does seem interesting. I just never have time to watch it
I
from the
feel you.
beginning. And I really do, because I know it is a good story. I know it is fairly different from the books, but from all the reviews I've ever seen, it is different from the books in a good, acceptable way.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Margaret Atwood actually threw her support behind it for quite a while too. Like this gets across what I was trying to get across, even if it does it a little differently. And by God, it does. It's fucking terrifying. It's it's
Oh yeah.
it's something. It's something. It is extremely something.
I
You,
I need to unconnect that add-on.
your computer is doing weird things. I'm
Mine
assuming.
is.
I'm assuming.
I had a notification in the Google document, and it was an update from the extension that I added to make that video slideshow thing out of a Google slide thing. It was a notification like, oh, they added a new feature. I'm like, I need to remember to uninstall that and unauthorize that now that I'm not using it because it had a bunch of permissions that I wasn't entirely happy granting, but I was happy enough to do it long enough to make the thing.
I get you.
It wanted the ability to be able to send emails on my behalf. I understand why. It's so it can send. I am exporting. I send this video to this person. It can just fire it out without like, okay, copy this link and put it over there. They can send an email out, but that also means it has to be able to send email, which we have to read. There's a whole chain of
Right.
permissions that like
It
I'm.
makes you second guess yourself because of the structure of permissions. It wants to be able to send emails, but they not roll up into, but that is a child of be able to read access your emails.
It's also the same way if you do anything that like okay, so you don't iPhone,
Right.
so you don't know about this. They changed it where when apps would I I install some photo fixing, red eye remover. Okay, it needs to access my camera roll, my photo,
Right.
my container of photos. So it needs to access my photos. So it would get access to all of the photos on my phone. And people were like, yeah, sure, whatever. But what they don't realize is like all the photos, like it's like even though you're only going to use it to fix a couple photos, what they changed in one of the more recent updates was like, do you want to allow all photos? Or do you want to pick the photo, like allow to some photos? Like I need this app right now to fix these two pictures to
Yeah.
send off. You select the three pictures you're going to fix, and those are the only photos that exist for it. You were giving it access to files, not the folder,
Yeah. Yeah.
because of things like that. I want to be able to give it access to send an email, prompt me to send that email, go through like, yes, I want you to do this. Yes, you can for this one email. I do not want to give your code infinite access to send emails on my behalf forever.
Right. Right.
For the one time that I may go to use that to send an email, just to install it to use it to make the video. And if I never plan to send the emails, you shouldn't access.
Right.
The problem with most apps and permissions, especially on phones, is they have in the manifest file, they declare all the permissions and browser extensions, basically the same thing. They declare every permission their code is ever going to use, ever. And there was a big push and they wanted to do this with manifest v3, but that became a shit show. But they are going to do this in manifest v4, they already said. And Apple said in down the road they're going to do the same thing, is they're going to let you define chunks of permissions,
Yeah.
things that they need from the start to open the app. If a photo thing is going to edit photos, they're going to list, hey, we need photo roll, camera roll,
Right.
to access your photos because we're a photo app. Additionally, we may also request, if you're like, hey, okay, that's good, I want to send that off to somebody, yes, you need access to the share sheet to, send to email, send to Discord, blah, blah, blah. If you don't know you're going to do that, you just want to play around with it, don't grant that right away. There's a required permission and optional permission, and even packages of that. So if you're going like, I want to use this to send, now you can request access to my email profile to send it out on the email on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine if I go to use that. But apps and permissions need to become more granular to fix a lot of the security problems in anything that has a permission system is broken right now.
Yeah.
We were
They
talking
go ahead.
we were talking with the database stuff for upcoming game,
Yeah.
and it goes to create a database. It shouldn't have to. We should control because we only have to set that up once. It should not be able that code should not have the permissions to create databases whenever it wants, because if that code gets compromised, that account can create as many databases as it wants.
Yeah.
Versus it needs to create a row in that database.
Yeah.
We control it through a different system to set that up once.
Yeah, we definitely do need to look into that a little bit further. It's kind of hinky the way they do it. And the thing is, my big complaint is the reason we're using that for what we are is authentication. And it's been 40 years. It's been almost half a century. Authentication should be a solved problem. And there are ways in which it is solved or made easier, and there are libraries for everything, and there are services you can subscribe to, but they're not. Some of them require too broad permissions, some of them are too expensive, some of them are just written badly, some of them are overly complex to the point of unusability. There's no good solution, there are less bad ones. Then again, I'm tired of having to add a user system to every separate app ever now. So if OAuth weren't so hairy, I would. I should anyway. You have an account with someone else? Cool. I'll attach mine to yours. You're on Google, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitch. I don't care what you're on. I know you exist somewhere. If you can log in there, your user is here.
We need a unique identifier for you
Yeah,
to store in our system to keep your score separate from somewhere else.
yeah.
However, that is different than the authentication part. If you want to authenticate with Google, if you want to authenticate with Twitter, if you want to authenticate with Steam, we don't care. We don't want to manage the username and password. That is on you. If you want to provide your own ident somewhere else, I don't remember what that technology was. There was a whole thing with that where you could set up your own
Yeah.
key provider and like set up on your own domain, and it was the thing that came out. It wasn't OAuth, it was something else.
I know the one you're talking about though. Yeah.
It was like
OpenID
the
or
grand
something.
yeah. You could prove someone else handled the yes, they have verified a password that we know to be true. They have proven an identity. Here is a unique GUID token that proves that to represent this person. Cool. We will store their shit under that.
That's almost kind of what
That
we,
was
yeah.
that was the dream.
Yeah.
But to do that, it you need that's what involves OAuth is somebody else had to do that. So how do they do that? The problem is like, oh, we'll just do that and keep it in the system.
Yeah.
You OAuth to Google, but you don't go back to somewhere else. There are some services that do that. You can log in with a bunch of different providers. They don't care because you're just signing into something.
I want proof that you are allowed to be who you say you are. That's the wrong phrasing for that, but I want a piece of proof that
No,
you're actually
that's
the
correct.
person you're telling me you are.
Yeah, proof of identity.
Yeah.
Do you think that software programmers make it more complicated than it
No.
needs to be? No. Software programmers do not make it more complicated. Stakeholders, project managers, somebody else that is making the choices make it more complicated.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes whoever's that stakeholder is the programmer because they're making it for themselves, but the software programmer almost never makes it too overly complicated.
Let me tell you about the three virtues. I think this actually came up before. I think I might have even shown this before. But the three virtues of a programmer, as defined by Larry Wall, are laziness, impatience, and hubris. A programmer does not want to make themselves indispensable. They want to make themselves useless. My goal with everything I write is that I'll never have to touch it again. I'm not going for guaranteed employment by making things deliberately obtuse or difficult to maintain. I want to minimize that. What I want to do is I want to make something that works well enough that I don't have to parent it forever. I don't want to be stuck 20 years from now fixing a website for someone that I set up once. That's why WordPress, the blogging software, That's why it exists. Is someone was tired of updating someone else's blog for them. So they said, "Look, I'm going to make a way you can do it yourself." No, no, it is endemic to software development that we all approach it with that mindset. Like, I have never met, and I've met a lot of developers. I have never met a developer that wants to make themselves indispensable in a maintenance sense. There, all kinds of them want to be like, I want to know everything so that I can do anything they throw at me, and I want to understand this system well enough that anything I run into I can fix. But nobody sets it up so that they're the only one who can fix it.
So, yes and no. It's a double-edged sword. You want job security because you want to make sure you have a job that they keep you on to do that job. But at the same time, the double-edged sword is if you're the only person that can fix it because you've engineered some system and you're the only person that can, that also means you're the only person that can. You are now on call 24/7 because you're the only person that can.
Yeah. Well,
My motto at Fastly, they said, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to automate myself out of a job.
yeah.
I want to make every one of these systems so automatable and nuclear proof and operatable by monkeys so I never have to be paged. I want to not take care of these things. I want everybody to be able to operate it, to understand it, and if somebody else needs to fix it, they can. And I said, well, what about job security? I'm like, no, I want to do that because then I can go do something else.
Yeah, that's the other
My
thing.
job is to automate this so I can do something else.
Software development is all about the novelty. I've written 100 million pieces of games because I keep wanting to do something different. If I do one thing and I make it so I'm the person that maintains it, that means that's the only thing I'm ever going to do from now on. I want to make it in a way where I don't have to babysit it so I can go do something else. And there will always be something else to do. Fuzzy setting up automations for the processes that existed when he was working at Fastly was him paving the way to set up the next round when they came out, as opposed to babysitting these broken ones for the next couple releases and a little bit after that and a little bit after that. He wants to leave clearance because companies grow and develop and change. And he wants to work on the new hotness, whatever it is.
Yeah. So there's yes, and developers. Okay, so this is a very like razor thin line and splitting hairs. There's developers and then there's programmers.
Yeah.
Developers like to develop, they like to create new things. And then there's maintenance programmers that enjoy taking care of and keeping the plate spinning. I don't want to design a plate, but I'm very good at keeping plates spinning. Jason likes creating new plates. We work well together because he can spin up a project, get it over halfway done, and be like, okay, keep this alive.
Yeah.
Here's the notes on stuff I didn't write, and here's stuff I want it to do. If it's all scaffolded out, I can take with it and I can duplicate and I can run with it. But I am bad at starting new ideas. This is why we work good together.
But even then, you say that's why I said programmers. Even then, the people who are the maintenance people, the people who are the finishers on projects, they do not want to just be responsible for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I still stand by that. Yeah.
Even the maintenance people sometimes get an itch and they want to do something new. But you know what they do? They find a new way to automate their stuff.
Yeah.
They find the new, like, oh, hey, this is all. Hey, have you heard about this new thing called Lua? Let's rewrite all of our automation testing in that.
No, not Lua. You. Although I guess
for some UI stuff, it was the best option.
Well, again, that comes back to what I said before. There's a big difference between the best and the least bad.
Well, it's also amount of friction.
Right.
A lot of software engineering is managing friction. I could write all my programs in C, Getting anybody else to install the tool chain to like compile or test anything would be too much friction.
Yeah.
If I have an automation that takes my branch and automatically spits it out onto like Netlify or something and puts it on a web host where I can say, "Hey, can you go test this? Here is a web link to it already running. You do not have to install, build, or do anything. Go play with this thing."
Yep. Yep.
Then, yeah,
You want to make it as painless an experience as possible for everyone. What was the Jeff Atwood quote? I don't even know if it was him. Remember, the next person maintaining your source code is an axe murderer that knows who you live.
knows where. I have that on a shirt.
Make sure, make sure that you build things in a way someone else can fix it. Because otherwise, you're going to be the one fixing it. And you know what? The worst programmer in the world is you
Is you?
3 months ago.
Oh, I have left notes to myself like, "Dear future me, I know this is bad. I am sorry. If you're here reading this, that means this solution is no longer viable. It worked. It worked good enough at the time. We had to move fast. This was sufficient enough. I'm sorry. If it's broken, yes, now you have the time to refactor it. It wasn't worth it before."
I'm a little bit late, but I'm going to give you your watch your profanity back. I forgot to put that on here, so here you go. Is it going to be out in front? Is it even going to work? Are my sound alerts just plain broken? Oh no, what have I done?
I have the stream open, but I have it muted.
That's all right. I'll give it one more shot, just in case. But yeah, I have done that a whole bunch of times too. Where like I I'll build something with a note to myself because in 2 weeks, in 10 days, I'm not going to remember what the hell I was thinking. And if I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a written record of what I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking at the time, I am not going to be able to maintain code here. I need to get ad alerts. Put that in our notes too. I need to set my ad alerts up. But yeah, that is why I push so hard for like my point of view that no, nobody sets themselves up to be a maintenance programmer. Nobody is trying to make themselves indispensable by being the only person that knows something. But I will say that that's led a couple of interesting directions because nobody wants to be the only person that knows something. You either grab a group of people and have them learn it with you, which is why you work in groups, or you don't learn it at all. You know,
Yeah.
you either get yourself to a point where you're not the only person, you don't have a bus number of one, or you go out of your way not to learn it. And I'm not going to say I've ever done that, but I'm not going to deny it either. And God, I hope Bobby's not watching. There are absolutely things at work I have avoided learning because I've watched all the people that know it go away. And I don't want to be the guy that knows the LRM or the UIV2 or some gross library or something like that. I don't want to be that guy, especially since it's something I didn't make in the first place. Because the other thing you'll find out is programmers are very strongly opinionated people, and I don't want to have to answer on behalf of someone who no longer exists. They've been, thrown down the memory hole. Why something was done that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to justify someone else's bad decisions. Why does it work this way? Someone else wrote it that way. Why don't you fix it? I didn't write it. Can't you go in and change it? Yes, I could. But let me tell you about Chesterton's fence. I'll actually tell you guys. Uh, it was named after a apocryphal engineering story. Someone was on a construction site and asked if they could tear down a fence because it had no use, and the foreman said no. When you understand why the fence was there, come back and talk to me, and then we'll discuss if it can be taken down. When you understand why it's still there, even if you tell me it's not in use, when you understand the purpose of the fence and why it's still there, then we'll talk about what it would take to remove it. And it was, a whole
Hmm.
parable thing, but it's like, don't go stripping things out or throwing things away or breaking things until you understand why they're in the state you want to change them from in the first place.
I have never heard that before, but I could immediately apply that to a number of things that makes sense.
Why is there a unique identifier in every debug message we send to like error logging in the software I'm working on? Can
So
we
you can
strip
find
that
it.
out? Well, we could strip that out in theory, but the use for it is that we can track that other places. If we have an identifier that is unique to an event, but not to a message, I can use that to time an event. If I throw a debug message that says event started and
Uh,
a debug message that says event ended, and they share the same identifier in the logs, I know how long it took. So, no, we can't take those out if we're using them for timing. If we are doing our timing another way, and that is the reason they were there, now you have that understanding of the purpose. Now we can discuss what it will take to remove them. And while we're discussing what it'll take to remove them, remember, we're not just taking it out of the message. We're making sure every place that's expecting the message in this format also knows it's no longer there. It's a load bearing poster. If you're going to take it down, make sure everywhere that's impacted by that is made aware already. And that's why all these easy little changes in every piece of software take forever, is because at its heart everything's a big ball of mud. And it's a big ball of mud and band-aids, and we just slap more muddy band-aids on it to keep it running. Just blip, 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 blip. And that's why I write games in JavaScript. Because at the day job, I have big balls of mud, but when I'm writing a new game, I've got a little ball of mud. It's a manageable ball of mud. It's a tiny, itsy bitsy, repairable ball of mud.
polka dot bikini.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, so no. To go back in one more time, just incoherently scream my answer. I have never met and will probably never meet a programmer, developer, coder, software engineer, whatever title you have, that is deliberately invested in making themselves indispensable by being the only person who knows how to XYZ. There are better ways to make yourself indispensable. One of them is know everything. Grow yourself T shaped. Have a specialty that you know very deeply and have knowledge of some level everywhere else. The other way to make yourself indispensable, blackmail the boss. I don't recommend it. I think there are laws around that, but it's extremely effective. Fuzzy, in his position at Fastly, was that T-shaped person, but it's like a T that's got 8 legs because he's got deep knowledge in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Maybe triangle-shaped person is, but the point is, there was almost no task that they could throw at you where you would say, "I don't know how to do this," and throw your hands up.
I would say I don't know how to do that, and then I would say, oh, should we find something? Like, no, I'm just telling you, I don't know how to do that.
This will take a week
But
longer because I am going to have to learn how to do that now.
yes, still assign it to me, but I'm telling you, I don't know how to do that now.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that yet.
Yes. And chances are, I either would know how to do that, would be willing to learn very quickly, or would know the more appropriate person, which is why I always inserted myself into so many pies, is so I was aware of the goings on and specialties and, oh, hey, I know so and so over in that other department is actually working on something like that. You should talk to them before we do our own version of this. Let's
100%, yeah.
go. A good example of, we were about to write this whole style guide thing for like our internal use, not like a published one, but like, here is how we're going to do this. And I'm like, this other department is already working on that. Like, they already have the palettes worked out, they have the colors worked out. They don't, and they're publishing it over here. And like, I didn't even know that system existed. I'm like, I know, but I do, because I paid attention to that. I went to that meeting and I paid attention to it. Like, you weren't even on. I was like, I know, but calendar invites are open. You can just click a link on somebody else's calendar and go to a Zoom meeting. And if there's 70 people on the call, they're not going to notice another person.
I'm going to attempt to move a cat. Pray for me. Maddie baby. Go get comfy somewhere else. Speaking of Jackson's little balls of mud, can I share one of those? I gotta show
No.
this off. Too bad. I'm gonna. My channel, my show. This is the farm game that he's been working on, and I am so proud and pleased with everything I've seen here. He's got your little player. He's got the NPCs wandering around to look at. You can go talk to him if you can catch up with him. If you can accidentally sell your fishing rod again. Hey man, you need more plants. I know it's hard, but keep trying. That shirt is still in the shop. What is it to pick plants? To pick up a thing. Let's go pick some of this basil over here. Let's go pick some of these pineapples. But it is a solid base for an actual farm type game. Let's plant ourselves some pineapples. And you can see them kind of grow in real time and everything. I am really really just taken aback by this and the whole map dynamic we've got going on here with the scrolling and everything. Um, I don't know how publicly this is released outside his community yet, but sooner or later I'll get a link so everyone can try it out for themselves. But it's a
Well, it's on the screen right now, so
pretty neat piece of, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's tiny. You have to look hard for it. Yeah. Yeah, what the heck? You know what? I'm throwing it in my chat. Go beat me up.
we'll make sure we put the link in the show description on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. It'll take off like crazy. You're gonna end up with $100 million AWS bill, burn my house down. I don't know. But putting this together, because we've worked on a handful of projects now. We've done quite a bit of kind of pair programming, just hanging out on Friday nights or whatever. And I'm really impressed to see it come together the way it has. And it's fun when you're teaching someone to do this stuff because they hit a point of critical mass, basically. There are a couple times when a question will come in. Jackson will ask, like, what's the best way to do this? And it's not, what do I type? It's not, what are the magic incantations to make this thing happen? It's one step above that with the abstractions. It's, I understand the kinds of things I want to happen. What's a good mental model for those to make it happen the way I want it to consistently.
That's that's something that I have been using ChatGPT for, is more I can describe the problem to I'm using it basically like a virtual mentor, sort of. Like part of it's rubber ducking, part of it's mentor. It's like, okay, I'm trying to do this. What's the what is a not horrible way to do this?
Right.
And
If
it's got enough context to things now that it kind of understands it is no longer just Google. It can give me context to things. And I've even like I'll question it's like, hey, you're storing it in a used state, because I've been doing a lot of React stuff. Like, is that really like why are you doing it? Is it necessary? Is it just because you're copying and pasting code from everywhere else and that's just how people do? And I'm like, explain this part to me. Like I get the rest of it. Explain this part. Why did you suggest that? And it is that deeper meaning. It is not the code. It is the reason behind it that when you're learning is useful to have from another person.
right, I have
It is the
I
why.
have
It is not the what.
screamed for years and years and years, and they're finally getting away from this now. And part of that's because of Python, but it's beside the point. I have been screaming forever that learning to program is being taught incorrectly. And that's because they focus on teaching you a language. And
Yeah.
a language is, yes, the set of specific things you type to make specific things happen. But it's rare that they open with conceptually describing what you want to happen and forcing you to break it down into small enough chunks that you can turn it into the mechanical written parts. And
Yeah.
when I am doing my volunteer classes on Tuesdays, like I have drilled into all of my fellow instructors' heads that our lessons are built that way from the ground up. We want to explain a thing you can do, why and when you would want to do it. Oh, by the way, here's how to do it in the language we're using for this class currently. But put together a description of what you're trying to write first. Write it out in English. Like if I were doing it instead of the computer, tell me what to do. We'll translate that to something the machine can understand later on. Because a lot of times people are not used to breaking it down with that level of granularity. And that right there, being able to build it up in that way, being able to take an end goal and build the full set of steps in excruciatingly dumb detail is
If you could, yeah, if you can describe to me what you want the program to do, you have written the program. Now we're just writing the code to make the computer do that program. But if you can't describe to me what you want it to do,
yeah, exactly,
I
exactly.
can't help you.
You've all seen me carry around a notebook, and that's one of the things I use it for. Is even if I'm not writing it out in full prose, if I have an idea for something I want to do, I start notating it to myself in greater detail. How do I do this step by step? How do I do this piece by piece? And I've got notebooks and notebooks just full of that stuff for projects finished, half completed, not yet started. But it's thinking out loud to myself on paper. And that's really the core of what it is. That's the thing where a lot of students will say, "Thank you for this class. I am interested in becoming a programmer. I have decided I want to learn more about it." And just as many students say, "Thank you for the class. I have learned that my interest in this is not as much as I thought it was." And as much as I like recruiting people into it, I like helping them find out early if they don't like it. It's not something everyone likes, and it's not something everyone should have to be good at. It should be an option you have. You shouldn't be shut out from it from the get go. But if you try it and you're like, no, that's no good, I'm I'm not going to make anyone eat a second McRib. You know, you try one, you like it, cool. They come back every 6 months, except for when they're 10 years in between. You try one, you don't like it, cool. Get the nuggets next time then. I don't want to force it on anyone, but I want to make sure you have an opportunity to find out if it's your thing or not. We're a little bit late for wrapping at 8, so it goes.
Oh God, yeah.
Um, we're probably going to call it here soon. I think I've got one or two more things. Do I have another thing? Should I share another thing? Should I share the
Do you
thing I
want
put in the other thing with the food?
yes,
I should share the food thing. Y'all want a sneak
yes,
peek of one of the new Hergel projects? Because you're going to get one, whether you like it or not. We were talking about cozy games earlier, and yeah, you caught me. It was kind of a leading question. I was debating whether or not I should share this. Um,
I know. My question was leading your leading.
one of the games that I have been working on putting together because I have seen a million Facebook ads. A lot of my inspiration comes from I see a Facebook ad for something that looks kind of like a neat mobile game, and I'm like, ooh, from this screenshot, what is the gameplay like? Can I figure it out? Okay, what other alternatives do I have for what I can do with this? What are all the ways I can take a shelf full of unsorted grocery products and turn it into some sort of playable game? Because I see one picture of a shelf full of unsorted grocery products. So I have been writing one of these, and this is where I got that question of, is this a cozy game or not? Could this be a cozy game? We'll make it a two-part question. If it is not in the state it is, what would it take to make it into a full cozy game? Oh, do we wrap the store around it so that you actually are maintaining the store and not just arbitrarily sorting food products? But, people ask Stephen King all the time, where do you get your ideas? And it's like, oh, I get mine out of ads. Don't tell anybody. There's my big secret. There's the dirty little secret is I get mine out of ads for mobile games, and I say to myself, I could do that, and then I say to myself, well, put up or shut up, and then I do that. Where's the other T? There's a T. How out of the way? Do I have another bag of tea over here? I got some relish. Y'all want some virtual relish? But one of the things that came up in our conversation earlier is it not showing this in the? It's not showing this in there. Did I turn that off? It should be showing this in there. It was supposed to be showing this in there. One of the things that came out of it, where I was asking a question about gameplay mechanics being part of
Move the
it.
stuff around again so they can see it.
Well, here I'll just drag around some more of the. There's a chocolate milk over there. There's a flour over there.
This is more OCD adventure than to the left is.
Yes, yes, it absolutely is. And let me change one little line here because I thought to myself, what if there are a couple different gameplay mechanics? What if I wanted to do something else with it instead of just sorting a shelf? What if item by item you're stocking the shelves? You know that you'll have at least 3 of each item, but you don't know how many you'll have in total. You'll have some multiple of 3. So you will fill up shelves with each item, which led me to a thought of, okay, well, what if there's a scoring mechanism for how many adjacent blocks of the same thing you have? If I've got 15 things of milk and they go all the way across the top, I should get a bonus because they're all connected to each other. You know what I mean? But at that point, is it no longer a cozy game? I have wrapped a potentially stress inducing scoring mechanic around it. Does that make it different somehow? Cream cheese. Ew. Maybe not cream cheese. Or if I introduce the concept of a shopping list and you get horribly shuffled shelves at the beginning that you can't sort, but you have to go through and grab 3 boxes of raisins and 2 bottles of syrup and 5 cans of baking powder for an order. And it's just a matter of finding them on the shelves and taking them off and dropping them in a cart. Starting from that single ad, starting from that single ad, I came up with 3 gameplay concepts that you could put in the same set of shelves using the same engine. And I potentially have a scoring mechanism, which means I potentially have a high scoreboard. But talking about cozy games, I could make this a gameplay mechanic in some other game.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I've been up to. There's your weekly Hurgle sneak peek. Um, I also do want to confess that that was absolutely written at like between what time did you take off yesterday? 11ish.
Yeah, around there.
Between then and 3. I wrote this in 4 hours last night.
Accidental insomnia programming.
And that's why I write games in JavaScript. I can go from why not to this in 4 hours. And it's not a complete game. I don't have a title screen, I don't have an ending. I have a check for the win condition, but it doesn't show you anything. It just prints a message in the JavaScript console. I don't have music or sound effects yet. There are a lot of polished things that go into it. That's the other 90% of the project. But it's playable. I played it for 2 hours today. Probably more than that, but I have to at least pretend that I did some more. Point is, it enables me to move stupidly quickly, and it's a fertile ground to experiment with, trying to do things in new ways and all of that. But anyway,
I mean, that's why I
yes.
was building some of the stuff I was building. I've been having fun writing stuff to use on my stream, the different not the actual product, but writing my own stream elements. Like the sidebar stuff and the little stream pet that's going to end up being chat integration, and that's a takeoff of like 4 different projects, and then also your little stream ship thing, and like part of it's to learn some of that technology, part of it's something to do, part of it when someone says, oh hey, where did you get that plug in, and I'm like, I made it. People go, what? It's like, yeah, I just had an idea and I programmed it. I can do that because I'm a programmer.
Yeah.
I want a thing that does, I want a dumb little falling infinite Tetris thing on the side because I have a vertical slot, nothing to do with it. So I wrote it.
Yeah. It's the way you have to sometimes. Yeah. I almost feel like the weekly hurdle sneak peek should be a recurring thing because every week I
Oh,
do
it,
something
it,
dumb
it
like
will
this.
be. Yes, I'm going to. There will be a.
Now that we've actually kind of formalized it as a business and we have a process, now I'm like, oh, I've got 4 hours. I'm going to make a new game without like seeing what everyone thinks of it and just kind of crap it out into our collective IP repository.
Well, this is why people should show up and watch the show, or catch it on the YouTubes after the fact. Is we show off, you know,
You never know what you're going to see. You never know how early you're going to see it. Get your sneak peeks while they're good. All right. I think I'm good to call it for now. want to, anything else you want to add? Last minute doorknob questions? Next, next sumo tournament. Next sumo tournament will be in March. I will keep you posted on the dates. I'll let you know when the Banzuke is up. We'll probably do some kind of thing in Discord again because it's fun. Thank you all very much for hanging out this evening. It has been an absolute blast. Let's get some music going. I am going to send you all over to Jiggy, and per our discussion earlier tonight, I am not going to raid. I am going to send you the manual way, but make sure you tell him that Jay sent you. Thank you once again for being here for Blue House Bull Session. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday with more of whatever floats through our head. Thank you all so much. Have an absolute wonderful evening.
You should put the link in chat
For which one?
for Jiggy.
I did.
Oh, okay. It hadn't come through yet. Yes, click that. Go there.